Hey everyone, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. You may have recently seen me do a pour with Resin for this mold. This mold is gorgeous. I absolutely love it, but it's so detailed and I just could not get all of the bubbles out. As you can see, there's just places where they just clung to the sides and I couldn't get them out. It's super intricate, so I thought that I would re-pour this using deep pour resin instead because it's really thin, it's very watery. So is the Resin, so there's a possibility it might be a fail, but we'll give it a try. I'm gonna spray the mold with alcohol just to see if we can mitigate any bubbles. But I'm going to be using the J. deep pour resin. I really like the J line. If you couldn't tell, I use all of their resins plus Resin, and I also like their deep pour as well. So truly one of my favorites. I feel like I always get a really great shine with it, and it doesn't yellow like some of the other resins. Not all resins are going to yellow over time, but I find that it doesn't yellow as quickly as some of the other resins. So my favorite. So I am going to, I've already mixed up 6 ounces. And I don't know, I think that should be pretty darn close to what we need. But this is what the mold looks like. So it's really tight in there and it's super detailed. So it's impossible to really flip it inside out without distorting it. So I'm just going to spray it with some alcohol. Oh, by the way, I've already mixed up my resin. I think I said that. I mixed it up already. And I tinted it with this. This is Stuck Up Little Pigs. And what color is that? Pretentious. One of my favorite, I love this color shift powder. It comes in these little tiny vials and it's kind of expensive for what it is, but I do really like it. I think it goes a lot further if you paint it on your mold rather than tint your resin with it. So this probably wasn't the best choice for this particular mold. I probably should have gone with a different color that I could have saturated it a little bit more, but I think it's gonna be fine. At least it'll give us a test to see if we can get the bubbles out of this mold. So I'm just gonna give it a really good squirt with some isopropyl alcohol and then just kind of rub my fingers in there as best I can, just to, you know, a little bit of a hope and a prayer, right? All right, and then that's it. So I've already mixed this up. I've let it sit on the side for a little bit. So I am just going to pour it in and hope for the best. I don't know if you can see that color shift, but it is so gorgeous. It's pink and green and a little bit of yellow. It is so, so, so beautiful. And I really do hope that by using the deep pour, that it will really just let all the bubbles out without any trouble. And that we'll have this perfect finished piece when we're done. I was originally going to use the mold for a candle, but if we're doing it with resin, that plan will change, but that's okay because we can use it as a desk accessory. It does have a lid, so we can use it as a trinket box. I'm not a big trinket box person, but there's so many. It's very versatile. Okay, so I don't want to do too much on this. I just want to pour it up to the end of those feet. I don't want to dome it too much. Okay, especially because it's deep pour, so it's very thin. So doming it, really not a great idea because it will just spread all over the place. Okay, and then this is its little lid. I'm going to do the same thing. I just sprayed it with some alcohol. I'm going to rub my fingers around these edges, and I'm going to hope that I have enough because now that I look at it, I don't think I'm going to. But if I don't, that's okay because I'll just mix up some more. It has a pretty long working time. I think it has, gosh, I don't know, 60, 70 minutes, something like that. So it has a really long working time. So if you do have to mix up a little bit more, which I'm gonna have to do, you certainly can do that. Matching the color will be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll get through it because it's all gonna mix together once we mix it up. So it's no big deal. All right, I'm just gonna mix this up really fast and then I'll be back to you. All right, so we have 3 more ounces, which I think is definitely going to be too much, but I'm okay with it being a little bit more. I'd much rather have more than not enough, because then we're trying to color match and everything else. So of course my alcohol in there has already dried around the edges, so we're just going to do our best to give it lots of taps, and I'll run a stick under the edge, and hopefully that'll be enough to keep the bubbles out. Okay, let's pour a little bit more. Before it's full, I'm just going to do the same thing, give it some taps. I'm not seeing any bubbles, which is nice. The dark pigment and the relatively clear mold, I'm not seeing any, but you know, that doesn't mean that they're not there and that they're not just like clinging on for dear life. Okay, there we go. Let's top it up. And this is deep pour, so because of that, it's a 2-to-1. So it's 2 parts A to 1 part B, and it does take a lot longer to cure. So it takes at least 24, well, it's really about 48 hours. Given how deep this is, it might be okay in like maybe 36 hours, but we'll see. I'm not going to push it. I'm just going to let it do its thing. I'm not going to put it on the heat mat. I'm just going to let it just be. I am in no hurry, and I want to give it every chance to fully just let off all those bubbles. Well, there's that. All right, we have, what do we have? About an ounce left. So I have this mold. I love this mold so much. This is one of the Into resin molds, and it comes out like this. It is so sparkly. It's beautiful. It's stunning. So I am going to use the rest of this and just pour it into here. And you don't want to pour or squirt alcohol into these handmade molds. It's just, it damages, it just reduces the lifespan of your mold. So you definitely don't want to be pouring alcohol in there. And because this is deep pour and this is a small mold, it may take longer than a couple of days, but that's okay. We're in no hurry, or I'm in no hurry. I would rather take my time and get, you know, what you want, the end product that you want, than to rush it and end up with something that you don't love, or that you'll never use, or that you can't use because it's just not perfect, or it's not as close to perfect as we can get it. Okay, I have a little bit left actually. I feel like this can use just a tiny bit more. I'm always afraid of overflowing it, especially with the deep pour, because it is so thin. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. And then you might have seen these little trinket trays. I also poured them with Resincrete the other day. They're very detailed, they're beautiful. They have these beautiful flowers on the inside. Absolutely stunning. But gosh, they're so intricate that the Resincrete just couldn't get into all the little tiny places. So I am gonna try, we'll try again. We'll try with the deep pour since we already have it out. Let's try with that and see how that goes and see if that is our cure. And it comes, it's like just a little tiny, it's really more like a little ring box or something just for, you know, like a little kid, just to put like their little treats in. It's beautiful. Like the box itself is absolutely beautiful. It's just a matter of trying to get it bubble free, which has been an adventure. Okay, oops. And then this is the bottom, which is also super intricate. Beautiful, but intricate. All right, so I'm just gonna do the same thing, spray it with alcohol and just run my finger around and try to get alcohol in all those little spots. And then pour and tap, pour and tap. It seems to be the prescription, right? All right, let's just top this up, and then I think that should use all of our resin. All right, so it's gonna take a few days for this to cure, so I will see you in probably 3 days. And then I can't wait to demold and see what this is gonna look like. I'm really excited. I think that this deep pour is going to fix all of my bubble issues, or at least that's what I tell myself. All right, guys, I'll see you in a couple of days. Hey, everyone, it feels like an eternity. It's been 3 days, but it feels like it's a lot longer. But I've been so excited. It's been so hard not to demold days. As a matter of fact, my son came down, must have been last night, and he was squeezing on it and he was like, oh, can I take it out of the mold? So I'm hoping they feel pretty firm. So I think we should be good. Let's start with this one. I love this one. This mold is from Into Resin, and it's really shiny and sparkly and it's so pretty. It is one of my favorites just for extras. Although it doesn't always want to give up its prize. Oh, look how pretty that is. It's a little bit lighter than I would have liked. I like it a little bit darker, but gosh, I don't know if you can pick up that sparkle, but heavens, that is just stunning. I love that. Now, I guess I'm gonna have like a little collection. So we'll just have a little collection. That's all good. Okay, and then this one, let's do this way. These are the trinket boxes that I completely obliterated when I made them out of Resincrete by big giant holes. So this is my, hopefully it works, trinket box. The silicone is really soft and squishy. But yet somehow that doesn't really make a big difference when it comes to bubbles. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's no bubbles, but I can see, you probably can't see this, but there is a little tiny dot right here. That is a piece of Resincrete that was left behind in the mold that I did not know was there. So that little piece of Resincrete has embedded itself into the little trinket box, but that's okay. I mean, I don't hate it. And it's, I mean, I wish it was, I wish it was darker. I think I needed to put more in here. I think it's just not dark enough. It kind of has a little bit of like a purplish gray hue, but I can live with that. It's almost Halloween. All right, and there's no bubbles. So that's really what it's all about, right? So far, the deep pour resin is a hit. Okay, deep breath. This is the lid. I see little pieces of something falling off. That's never good. Okay. And this is the lid. Oh, that turned out so pretty. There are a couple of little pieces where there were bubbles in the very, very tips, but honestly, you can't really tell because they just kind of look like they're meant to be that way. Unless you were really looking at it and knew what you were looking at, you wouldn't know. And then this is the bottom. So yeah, I mean, I really like it. Let's see if the lid fits. Hey, and the lid fits, mostly. Yeah, the lid, well, the mold's a little, the mold itself is a little bit off kilter, which I noticed that when I was pouring it, but still, I think it's really pretty. Next. All right, the main attraction. Okay. I'm going to like send out like positive, happy vibes into the universe and hope that there are no bubbles in here and that this turned out really pretty. I'm knowing already that it's gonna be too light, but that's okay. May grab a stick. Maybe we can just leave this in here. Just call really good. And then we'll never know if there are bubbles in it. Okay, let's give it a little isopropyl. See if we can work that around the edges. And maybe not cut my hand in the process. Gosh, how many times have you cut your hand on sharp resin? So many times for me. And I know better. I know to be careful when I'm taking this stuff out, but sometimes it's in there so tight, it just doesn't want to come out, like right now. Okay. But once you get it over one corner, you can usually get the rest of it out pretty easily. As I continue to struggle here. All right. Oh, I actually really like that. I wasn't sure. I thought it was going to be too light. But oh, I like it. Okay, underneath the lid. Nope, that was just some alcohol. Underneath the lid right here, there's a little bit of powder. But I don't care. It doesn't matter. There's no bubbles. And that's really all we care about, right? Is that, oh, that finish is gorgeous. It's so shiny. And that color is stunning. Oh, you're not seeing the color shift that I really wanted to see. So those pigments I think are better if you brush them on rather than putting them into the resin. But that's okay. I'm still happy with this color, and I'm still happy that the finish is just, it's so beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna stop touching it now. Let's move on to this piece. This is the piece that gave me a really hard time when I did it in Resin-Crete. A lot of just like super fiddly little details. It just didn't work with the Resin-Crete. And maybe I could redo it in the Resin-Crete and make it a little bit waterier. Is that a word? Make it more watery. Maybe that's the way you say it. So that you wouldn't have all of those issues. Maybe I'll give that a try, because I do love the way it feels with the Resin-Crete. It's got a really nice, just smooth texture, and it's got some weight to it. That's one of the things that I really like about the Resin-Crete, is that it has that substantialness to it. Okay, sending more positive vibes out into the universe here. This one hopefully will be a little bit easier to get off. Goodness knows that lid was not very cooperative. All right, I'm just gonna get some alcohol down in there. See if we can just peel this back. And by the way, when you put alcohol into your mold and you're trying to demold something, wear some goggles or glasses or close your eyes or something. You don't want to get alcohol in your eye as it splatters. All right, I'm gonna have to put this against me. I need to use my body as leverage. Oh my goodness gracious, this thing is super tight. It just shouldn't be this difficult. Like, it just shouldn't be this hard. It makes me laugh. Oh, there you go. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is so pretty. If you have a mold that has a center insert, if you just twist it, it'll pop right out. All right, let me see if I can get this back the right way. Okay. Wow. I think I broke a nail. That is very upsetting. Okay. Oh my gosh, look, it's beautiful. There are no bubbles. There are no bubbles. There are none, not even one. Oh, there are no bubbles. Oh, this is stunning. Oh, I love this so much. The detail on this. Okay, so I was thinking about, and please tell me, like, you can scream at your device right now. Be like, no, don't do it. It's pretty just like it is. I was thinking about painting in some of these windows with some mica powder, with like, put down a little bit of tack it over and over, and then painting a little bit of mica powder in there to make it look like the window is lit up. But now I'm afraid if I do that, I'll ruin it because this is so lovely. All right, I'm gonna have to think about it because I love it and I really don't want to make a mistake on it that will destroy the finish. But gosh, it's so nice. All right, I'm gonna think about it. I'll come back and let you know what I decided. Okay, I have decided I'm going to try and paint the windows in, just the panes. And I'm gonna hope for the best. And here's the thing, right? Bottom line is that if it's terrible, we can report it and we can make it a little darker and we can use a different color and we can still use it because we can put it on our desk and it doesn't matter if it's perfect, right? Because look what I did. I took this jar that is completely misshapen. Had a little mishap with the mold during the pouring process, but I turned it into my Cricut supplies jar. So even if it doesn't turn out exactly like we want, that's okay because we can fix it or we can still use it because it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this, tack it over and over. If you paint something or if you are wanting to add mica powder or something after the fact on a piece of resin, you put this down, let it dry. It dries completely clear. It goes on white, dries clear. Once you come back, it's really tacky and then you can just paint your mica powder on top of it and it will stick to it. It's pretty awesome. The only thing is though, is if you get it somewhere where you don't really want it, yeah, that's probably not the best. It's probably a little problematic. So that's the only thing is you have to be just really careful. And then I'm going to use some of this little piggy because it has an iridescence to it. I'm not sure how well the camera picks that up, but it has like a little bit of an iridescence to it. So I thought that maybe it might look a little bit like there's a reflection on the window, like it's just kind of shining out. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to give it a go. I've never done this piece, never done this exact thing before. So let's do it. All right, let's do it. I'm going to move this lid out of the way. I'm going to move all of this out of the way and then we'll just give it a go. So I just grabbed this little extra piece of vinyl that I had left over from printing something out. I'm just going to put a little bit of this glue on here, not a whole lot because it does dry pretty fast, but I'll just put a little bit to start with. And I'm going to take this little micro brush, tiny little micro brush, and just paint it on. So let's see how this goes. And try not to get it up the sides too much. Okay, one down. I'm sorry if I'm giving you a little bit of whiplash as I'm painting this on. It's easier if I spin it around to make sure I get all the spots on it. Okay, so I kind of fell in love with this and I went a little overboard, but that's okay, right? I mean, it's okay to be a little much sometimes. So I put the tacket on this window and then I put the mica powder on and it just gave it this incredible shine. What I did learn that tacket, you need to make sure that it's flat and it's spread out evenly and not in clumps, because if it's in clumps, then you'll see them. But that's okay because I can fix it. I can go back and add another layer. So I'm not worried about it. But what I did do is I put tacket on all of the windows and I'm going to paint them all. And then I think I'm going to put a battery operated tea light in it because it's still transparent enough that with a strong battery operated tea light, I think it'll be really pretty. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to paint this on really fast. It's so quick and so easy because anywhere that you put the tacket, it's just going to stick to it, which is kind of incredible. Oops. I don't want whatever that is to stick to it though. Okay, just want powder. Okay, so the tacket is just super sticky. Once it dries, you can just put your powder on and it's only going to stick to areas where you had the tacket. So of course, make sure that you don't get the tacket anywhere you don't want it, because then you'll have a cleaning adventure. And I'm not really into cleaning adventures. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to paint all of the windows, and then I'll come back to you when I'm finished because nobody wants to watch this. But I'll just paint each one of the windows, and then I'll come back to you and show you what it looks like when all is said and done. But yeah, I was pretty excited about this. All right, I'll see you in a few minutes. And just like that, all the windows are painted, and oh my gosh, I don't know if you can see the shimmer, but it's so pretty. And because it's so you can see through it, right? I think once I put a candle in there, it'll really light up those windows. A tea light candle, a battery operated one, of course. I would not put a live flame in resin. That would make me very nervous. But yeah, so we're all finished. I mean, how beautiful is this? I thought about putting something like on the top, but I think I'm just gonna leave it just as it is. I think it's beautiful just like that. And I love the windows. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you liked this video, you know what to do. And hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more fun little resin treats.